Hello friends, welcome to my Django tutorial. So in my last tutorial I have explained to you about how we can link one URL with the other. So today we're gonna create a new URL that will display a form, and we will be entering few details about us, and that will get stored in the employee database. Okay, so to do that, first let's say we create a URL. Okay, so let's come to urls.py. Our URL name would be new. Okay, it would be yeah. Our URL would be like this. Okay, so let's begin. New. Then we will create a view. Let's say new employee. Employee new, and give it a name. New. Let's say. Okay. Yeah. So defined the URL. Now we have to create a file named as forms.py, okay, inside our application. So our app is here. We will be creating a file as forms.py. Okay, and inside this forms.py we would be like importing a module called forms, which is inside the Django. Okay, and then the form will contain the fields. The form should always contain the fields that are inside our model class. Okay, so from models we would be importing the model. Our model name was employee, as we can see, employee. Okay, then we will be creating a class. Let's say employee form. Okay, inside the and it should inherit forms dot model form. Okay, as it is a Django form, so it should always inherit, this class should always inherit model form from forms. Okay, now there is a class called meta. Meta will contain all the information related to the database, like the structure and all those things, and the fields, everything would be inside the meta. So here we will be defining the name of our model. So our model name was employee, and we will be listing the name of the fields that we want in our form inside a fields variable. Okay. So first we want a title. Title was not there. Let's see what an employee first name, employee last name. Okay. An employee department. Okay. So employee first name, employee last name, employee department, and the dates are auto generated, so we don't have to mention those things. Auto department, yeah. So it is a tuple where we have defined all the field name which we want to display it in our forms. In the fields when we are displaying the form. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is we should come to our views. Inside the view, we will create a method named as what name we have given, employee name. Yeah, there the name of the function, then request inside, and after that we will be taking a variable form. We will be creating object of form class. As you can see, the name of our class is employee form. Okay, so let's come here. Employee form, and it should contain request post. As we are taking post type of a request, that is why we have given it a post, because we are creating an employee. So for creation, the request type is post, and if we want to fetch any records, then the request type would be get. Then this form, this form, it has a method called is valid, which will check whether all the fields are valid or not, whether like all the mandatory fields are filled or not. So all those validations will be done by is valid. It is a built-in function inside the forms, and if form is valid, then what we are going to do is we would be creating a variable called instance, and then form.save. Whatever information that will be coming inside the form, we are saving it. Okay. And by default, the save has commit equal to true. So whatever we would be, whenever we would be writing form.save, so it would get by default get saved into our database and get commit also. So first we need to set commit as false. This would what this is going to do, it will save the form in a temporary object, that is instance. I'll tell you why we are doing it, and then we are saving it. We have first temporarily stored in a temporary variable because if we want to if we want to perform any manipulations before our object getting stored inside the DB, then we can perform or make changes over here. Like if we want, you have seen Gmail or Google, not Google. I'll take an example of Gmail. If you enter your mail ID, only the username, and after that you enter, then also you are able to log in. It, like you don't have to enter @gmail.com. It gets by default added. So those things are done here. Your form instance, your form in, or your form details will get stored in an instance, and in that instance, if let's say Gmail is not there, so it will get added here. Like you can add you can add in employees first name, you can add anything or append anything and then save it. So before saving into the database, it will be saved with the new changes. Okay, and then we have done instance.save, and after that return redirect. We want to redirect, we want the information, whatever we are storing, like let's say if we are storing a new employee. So after the new employee getting stored inside the DB, it should open the page of that particular employee. Okay, so we are redirecting. Here we again have to give the URL name, that was employee by ID. We can see from here. Oh, sorry, we can see it. Yeah, employees, then by underscore ID. Okay. Sorry, I need to put it here. So in the redirect, first we need to pass the URL where it should redirect. And remember, when we are using this URL of by ID, then we have to pass ID also. So And for ID, we have already taken variable name as input ID, as you can see over here also. So in the input ID, what should get passed? Instance dot ID. Okay, whatever instance that we are storing it, its ID should get passed in input ID. Okay, then in context, what we are storing, title as new journal, new created, and form. Okay, so these two things we are passing it. Inside the context. Now return render what three things that we pass request, then the name of HTML that we are going to create. Let's say employee underscore new. Okay, HTML. We will create this HTML and then context. Now we will be creating an HTML file named as employee underscore new. Then inside the body, we will be creating form. Right? Inside the form, we will be mentioning the method type. And then form There would be a submit button also. Type is submit, values, create new employee. So this is how we are going to do this. Now as we have created a form, one thing which is left is that we have to include the CRF token. What is CRF token? Basically, CRF is cross-site request forgery protection. CRF middleware and template tag provides easy to use protection against cross-site request forgeries. Okay, so this is a type of an attack where when a malicious website contains a link, uh, JavaScript, or a form button that is intended to perform some action on your website, okay, using the credential of often logged in user who visit the malicious site in their browser. Okay, let's say you are making a request to a server, or if you are doing a transaction, then in between uh, in between your transaction, if someone maliciously uh, changed your link or changed your details like amount and all those things, and in the day and in the bank, the amount that they see got changed. Like if you have made the payment of, let's say, 10,000, and in between somebody has changed your amount from 10,000 to, let's say, 20,000. So in the bank, it would be reflecting it as 20,000. They would be thinking that, okay, you have to make a transaction of 20,000. So they would they would do the transaction, and in between that malicious user, he could get benefit of that 10,000 extra. Okay, so this is how malicious user or hackers they do. So to prevent those things, whenever we are dealing with the post request, we have to pass CRF token along with that. So for that, we have to write CSRF token. It is basically a lock which we are putting to our data. Nobody can open it in between. Okay. So let's save and run our application. Okay. Reloading. Okay, indentation. Now I am running. So now you can see that it has run. Now we will check. Okay, page not found. Again, we need to check. Maybe we haven't done the mapping correctly of the URLs. We haven't saved this file that was there. That is why we are facing that error. Now I have saved it. and again run that. Okay. Okay, we have missed a comma. Now again we are running it and we can see now we can run this URL. Yeah. So here you are getting your form, but you can see that fields are not aligned. They are coming in any order, and you don't want it like that. Okay. So one minor change that we have to do, um, like if you can see employee last name is coming here, then employee department is coming here, and after that, so it is becoming very difficult to identify which field is for which thing. So in the HTML, we have to make a very small change. We have to add dot as field. It will display all the fields just like a paragraph. It in the next line. Okay, we can see. Okay, and now you can see that we are getting this. The field is required. The field is required. So, and even before entering any information, it is saying that the field is required. Okay, so it should come after when it should come when we are not entering any field and we are clicking on create employee. Then this alert should come. It should not come before our entering the information, right? Like when you get a blank form and there are some mandatory fields, if you are filling some online form, so you don't get this that the field is required. Okay, but when you are missing that field and you click on submit, then the alert will come that please fill that field because it's mandatory or anything. Okay, so to get rid of this, we have to add one thing in our view. Um, Inside our view, you can see that we have imported the form. So yeah, over here, the request is post or none. Okay, whether whether we have filled all the information or it is none, like it is a blank form, then it should not display that the field is required. Now if you will run it, you will find that the field is required will be gone. Yeah, okay, and if you'll click on create new employee, then it will show please fill out this field. Okay, it will show it like an alert. So now let's create a new employee. Okay, and give it a name like Piyush. Okay, Sharma. And the department, we give it as sales. Okay, and when we will click on create, it is saying that CRF verification failed, request aborted. Okay, we will see why it showing like that. Here. Okay, what we have missed is this. We need to remove it from here, put it inside here. Okay, outside the form. Now we will use and use click on create new employees. Then we will see what error we are getting. Redirect is not defined. Okay, I got it. In the views, we have used this redirect. Okay, so this is inside shortcuts. So we need to import it. Now we can enter use Sharma, save, okay, and then create. You can see it is redirecting to Piyush Sharma page, and we can verify it by opening the admin page also. You can see that Piyush got added over here. Okay, and if you will do, it will show you all list of all the employees. Okay, and if you will click on this link, it will show you the in details of this particular employee. So this is how we are going to create an employee using forms from the from the UI. Okay, so that's all for today. Bye bye.